Good evening. Welcome back to In the Khud. This is 14 June 2023, 8:09 p.m. And of course, I have to address. Wait, something is wrong. Of course, I have to address the elephant in the room, which is the annual sick situation. You can make out from my voice. A lot of things happened different this time around, and I will get to documenting those things. I would say the biggest one being the fact that I got through with it pretty easily. I mean, I just took a leave from the full-time job yesterday, and that is pretty much all. I did not have to take another leave. So yeah, I'll get to that later, but before that, a little bit of progress that I did today in terms of the character animation situation. And that is that the HumanGen add-on is amazing. Everything it does is amazing, but you need to use it only as a starting point. Like the way I was doing it for the entire animation is I was using the rig, and I was very happy about the fact that HumanGen add-on not just gives you this option to have these high quality looking humans the way you want them to, but it also gives you a rigify rig which just works flawlessly without any weight painting. And even for the facial rig, turns out that yes, it is very simple and very nice and everything, but in the long run it is very, very detrimental, because what it does is it uses shape keys, all sorts of shape keys, to make those rig work and make things happen. And that is a big problem. Even for hair, it puts these ton of particle systems or modifiers on top of your mesh that it basically becomes not usable when you are having a lot of characters in the scene like I do have. And it is also very good practice to be able to rig your characters by yourself, because how much will you rely on HumanGen add-on? There's going to be a very strong limit to where you'll have to stop. So to help you make some sense out of what I just said, let me just take a male character. Anything, could be an Asian character. Just generate this human. Okay, and this is very weird. Only thing I want to do is make his age. For some reason it makes it like yeah, 23 is fine. And again, even for the clothing, I really don't want to use the add-on because it does a lot of problems. See, if you go into the edit mode, actually this mesh is a female mesh, but that's their base mesh, female mesh. So how do they make it look like all these different meshes with humans and age and everything? They do this through shape keys, and all of these shape keys, see, male is at 1 right now. If I was to make this 0, it will become a female. Again, everything is all linked, and you see purple, right? You see all of this is purple, which means that there are drivers being used to make this happen, and that is a big problem because these are very, very computational intensive things. So you want to get rid of this thing as fast as possible. Now it is destructive in the way that I'm not going to be having access to this panel, and I can't come in here, and whenever I want to change the hair, let's say I want to come in here and make his hair afro, just for like let's say, I won't be able to have that access once I delete this HG Joseph. But you know what, let's just do it. I found it's a little destructive, but we're gonna go ahead with it. First thing I'm gonna do is come in here, and you see all these shape keys here. Q, apply all shape keys. I've put it into my quick favorites. You can come in here and apply all shape keys. So now there is no point of this being a female mesh which is being transformed through this situation. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do with this character is I'm gonna bring him into a T-pose. That is very, very important. So I'm gonna come in here, and before I delete this, I'm gonna make use of the HumanGen add-on one last time. Come into my pose and take it, bring it into T-pose. Now this is something I had myself documented in one of the videos here, which is what I saw to get a refresher. So now how do you make this mesh, because the mesh is actually in A pose, how do you make it go into T-pose? You come into your modifiers, and this armature modifier, you're going to duplicate this and you're going to apply one of them. Okay, now with this armature, you're going to come in here, Control A, apply as a rest pose. So now your armature, your mesh is in T pose. which is amazing because T-pose is needed for retargeting and all sorts of stuff. I don't know why it does not generate a T-pose by default. What is these use of A-pose anyway, if you want to do everything starting from the T-pose? Regardless, come in here and you see these particle systems, right? Hair is hidden right now. All these are a big problem, right? So firstly, all of these which are not even being used, I don't know why the add-on is putting them here. So I get rid of all of them. And for all these, right, I don't want to have it this way. I'm going to convert it into mesh. So it does it for the eyelash. I'm going to remove this. I think these are for your hair, for your eyebrow. So here I'm going to remove this. And this particle system, this is for the hair. So I'm going to remove this. Now we're good to go. Like even at this point, you can come in here and maybe if you want to add it to, if you wanted to add clothing, you could give him some clothing. Why can't I see? Okay, now the way the add-on is set up, right, you mess things up, it's really not gonna work. So which is why I feel like the clothing and everything we can do ourselves. So just let this go. Okay, bye bye, let it go. And this thing here which is allowing us to connect to the add-on, I'm gonna delete that. Now how do we go about making it like the way it should be? You're gonna use Rigify and like the built-in armature stuff to make that happen. These are all your hair and everything. So I'm gonna come in here and say Shift A, armature, human meta rig. In my edit mode, I'm gonna scale this. Where individual origins, median point. Let's say 3D cursor. Okay. In edit mode, that's important because otherwise you have to apply the scale later, which becomes a problem. Enable X-ray mirror, X mirror, X symmetry, whatever. Don't do it 3D cursor now. The more kind of complex thing is to do the face, so I'm gonna try and do it quickly. In the X-ray mode, I'm gonna select all of these bones, the ear, and there'll be a face bone here. No, this one. Now if I move this, you get the entire face. So say Control I and hide everything else. Even this one you can hide. And now we're gonna quickly attach this, but I'm just gonna remove my. What's important is to drag select like this or use circle select. Otherwise, there'll be some bones which you will accidentally disconnect, and then you'll get some weird errors, which you'll have to watch some CG dive video or go to some Blender artist forums to figure out, and then you can't figure out. Okay, over here what you want to do is Control Shift Tab face project. That's kind of important. The fingers, right? Fingers. For fingers, like on how for the face we used face, for the face muscles we use face project. For fingers you use volume project. So come in here and Control Shift Tab, you're gonna select volume. Now what that will do is I'm gonna select this part, G, and if I hold Control, it's gonna snap inside the volume. It takes a bit of time to get used to this, but once you get used to it, it's a bit. Okay, so that is done. Once that is done, you're gonna come in here and inside Rigify, you're gonna say Generate Rig. It says Upgrade Face Rig, but you just ignore it. Okay, so we've generated the rig, and the last step is to hide the meta rig. Come here, select the mesh, select the generated rig, and say Control P with automatic weights, and it's gonna do bone height, weighting, fail to find solution for one or more bones. It's a very standard nonsense. Okay, I'm gonna come in here and ignore that completely. Okay, it's not working. Shit. Few times I did, it was working even with that error. So okay, that's a fail. It's not working at all. This is one very weird problem. So what I want to do is I want to not rely on automatic weights at all. I want to just understand how weight painting works, so that I can manually just pair into the empty groups and then manually do the weight painting. I think that is more efficient way of doing it. because automatic weight is just bad. Doesn't work. Control P with automatic weights. I remember why. So I'm gonna come in here, A, M, merge by distance, remove for vertices. Now Control P with automatic weights. Again we see that issue. I'm not doing that. Scale up to 100, all that. So yeah, this is not working at all. I'm gonna just shut all of this nonsense. Why can't I get rid of this? So there is this trial one here. This lady I did with the exact same method, and I actually parented everything well. So I go into the pose mode. If I move the eyes, even the eyes are moving. Okay, if you see on the left side. Oh, the mesh is not gonna get rendered. That is disappointing. Okay, the teeth and everything is not going along, but other than that everything else is working fine. This is getting ridiculous now. Anyway, that was that. This is basically, there's a lot I have to still figure out here, and the fact that I did the entire process live and still I'm getting that issue, it's just weird, but I'm sure I can figure out how to just weight paint manually with empty groups, and that'll be nice. Now talking a little bit about the sick situation, because I'm actually falling sick again. I can't continue talking a lot, you see from my voice as well. Everything was amazing until Sunday evening. I went for my walk, regular, amazing, fine, listening to Muji and listening to the satsangs. And Monday, so Sunday evening when I went to sleep, I could start to feel that dreadful, that itch in the throat, which is so indicative of the sick problem is coming again. And I could see it, so I immediately sorted to doing steam. I did multiple rounds of steam, but it did not work out at all. So yesterday morning, it was getting pretty intense, so I went to the doctor, got my prescription and all that, and I took a leave from the full-time job yesterday. I was basically resting the whole day. What is different in this sick situation was every time that I've fallen sick, I always had Maskinji's Katha to resort back to. But this time around there was no Maskinji's Katha, there was instead Muji's Satsang. And I wouldn't consider this as getting better or evolving or whatever. I mean, in one way it is, because the knowledge of the self and whatever Muji in his satsangs teaches and points, his pointings are they're so valuable, that once you have that sense of clarity and once you consider that as the base of your experience, you can then take it to religion and God and look at everything with that sense of clarity. So I mean, there were a lot of occasions where I deliberately tried bringing my attention to the second bird. The first bird is activity which is seen by the second bird. And it's like, yes, I have seen the body being in great health and being in good shape, and now I can see the body not being so well and being sick. And for so long I've identified myself with the first bird, that it feels very problematic. Like for me, I want to work, I want to do things, I want to make things, I want to create, I want to be active, and I want to go to the gym. I haven't gone to the gym in the past 1 week, so I want to be doing all these things. But instances like these put you in a place where you're like, some real testing times. But I don't really know what to say anymore. It's just that's what it is. And thankfully I'm feeling much better now. I should be back to normal, more or less normal, by tomorrow morning, even though my voice is not sounding anywhere near normal as of now. But I think by tomorrow morning I should be completely fine. I worked today as well, as in a little bit here and there. There was thankfully nothing extreme that I had to take up for the full-time job, so it wasn't stressful or anything. But that's where life is right now. I have noticed that a few subscribers have grown on inthekhud, and that is pretty nice. And if you're watching this, if you recently subscribed, thank you. Welcome to inthekhud. If you watch all the other videos on this channel, you will understand that from the beginning of, it's almost been a year that I've started this channel, it's always been a very selfish kind of approach. where I'm just putting out content for myself. But at the back of my mind, I always knew that these things that I have to revise myself in Blender or After Effects or whatever, they will at some point be useful to others as well. So yeah, I don't want this to become like a thing where I'm very, very particular about this is what I upload, this is what I don't upload. Inthekhud is always going to be a very raw documentation of my life, and I'm going to try and continue keeping it that way. So yeah, thank you so much for being in the Khud. I will catch you tomorrow.